What's poppin', my J dolls? And I'm back with another video. Before I get into this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and ring that bell. Today, y'all, I'm doing a story time, and it's gonna be about the first time I went on a date with a white man. And what I will say is never again. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to my kind, okay? But I'm gonna tell y'all how this date went or whatever. So I went on this date, y'all. I don't know why I thought it was so long ago, but this date I went on in October. So that was like 2.5 months, almost 3 months ago. So I ended up matching with this guy on Hinge, and we was talking. We actually had good conversation. Like, now I'm looking back at it too, like we was writing long paragraphs. But yeah, y'all, so his long messages and my long messages, we actually had really good conversations. Like, the conversations were amazing. So I'm like, okay, this is a vibe. Like, I mess with him, and I don't really mess with white men. Like, not that we know races or anything, but it's just like our personalities don't usually mix, right? So anyways, we're talking back and forth on the app for like a week and a half, and then we decided to go on a date. So what I did like about him is that he chose where we're gonna go. So it was in Uptown. So anyways, y'all, we went to this restaurant. I don't remember the name of the restaurant. I don't feel like looking it up, but it's in Uptown, and it was a nice restaurant. He told me he went there several times. He really likes the food there, and it's nice. So we went there, and I'm like, okay, I like the aesthetics. Like, it's giving cute, and it was restaurant week, so it also had like a 5-course meal menu and everything like that. So anyways, we order our food. I got like a salmon salad type of vibe, and then he had got like burger and fries. Now, what I noticed when I first met him is that, first of all, he's tall as hell. Like, he's tall and he's very cute. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, he's very cute and he's tall. And I think he was like 6'5" or something like that, or he's something over 6 feet. So anyways, when I first seen him, he had this velvet, like, kind of 2-piece set type vibe on. Like, that was a polo. Yeah, it was like a polo set. So I was like, okay, a white man with a polo set on, like, in his velvet, like, that's different. Okay. Because mind y'all, we never talked on the phone, so I didn't never hear his voice, how he talked or nothing. It was just messaging on Hinge. So anyways, y'all, we sit down, we're talking, the vibes are vibing, like, we can hold a conversation. We had to be there for like at least two to 3 hours, maybe 2.5, because they did close early. So we end up, after they closed, we ended up going in the car and sitting in the car and talking. So y'all, everything is going good. Like, when I tell you everything's going good up until the point where we go to the car. So when we are in the restaurant, I do tell him that I had weight loss surgery. I tell people this all the time, mainly because I really don't care, but it's also too because he was like, oh, do you not really like your food? People always ask that. So it's like, no, I do like my food, but it's just like I had weight loss surgery. I cannot eat a lot. And then he was like, oh, okay. And so when we got outside, he was like, oh, you know, you said you had surgery. Like, oh, what type of surgery did you get? Did you get like lipo or something? I'm like, lipo? Like, I said like weight loss surgery, not like plastic surgery, but you know how guys don't know. Like, this man is from Minnetonka. So he is from, no, not Minnetonka. He's from Edina. Edina is a very rich area. So yeah, a lot of people in Edina probably getting lipo and tummy tucks and stuff. So anyways, he was like, oh, what did you get, like lipo or something? And I was like, oh no. I pretty much told him like what I got and explained it all to him or whatever. And now the thing about him, y'all, he's from Edina, but he acts very urban. I don't want to say someone acts black, because you can't act a race, but he acts very urban. Like, for somebody that is literally raised in the rich ass suburbs, I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I am convinced. Like, that's just how I felt. I was just like, this is weird. Not only is this my first time on a date with a white man, but it's a white man that's very urban. Like, that's very me of me. You know what I mean? So anyways, y'all, we literally leave and we're talking about this, and then he asked me like, oh, do I have like scars or like, and I was like, whoa. Like, to me that threw me off guard, because I've never had nobody ask me that, and I'm just like, God, why does that even matter?
What was the reason? What was the reason?
You know, and I was still, honestly, even though this is October, I was still fresh, like, with my body. My body is still changed. My body has changed a lot from October to even now. Like, if he see me, he probably like, wow, this girl's even smaller. But he couldn't believe I had surgery. Like, he just was like, oh, I would have never known, and this is this. So after that, it kind of did it. I told him that I did have scars, but you could barely see them, because at this point my scars had healed, where it's like you cannot tell, like, because I'm dark skinned and the marks are dark and they're very, very tiny. So at that point I was like, okay, whatever, that's kind of weird, but we'll go with it. So we went to the car, we're talking and all this stuff. I'm learning a lot about him. When we get in the car, we start getting deep. Like, I don't even know what it is in me, but I get people to get deep for no reason. The one thing I didn't like about him is he was very shallow. Like, even the comment about that I had scars and, like, certain things he would say, I was just like, it's giving very shallow. So when we got to the car, we were talking and stuff, and he was talking about, because he works for some type of, like, investment firm, something. So, and to find out his dad got him the job at the investment firm in the first place. And I think that's the biggest thing, like, white people don't understand. It's like, white privilege is real. Like, you literally got a job because your dad works there, you know? So, like, yeah. Then he kind of told me, and this is the weirdest thing I think about going on a date with someone that's not the same, in the same race as you, or just been through the same things as you in general, is he was telling me about how he doesn't feel like everybody can invest, everybody can save, no matter what their situation is, no matter da-da-da-da. And I told him, I get it. I get where you're coming from, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but just know that some people, they have to choose between if they're going to spend money on food, or like to pay their bills, or are they going to spend money to save and invest. Some people really just don't have the finances for it, or they don't have the financial literacy, which is a whole part of being suppressed, which you wouldn't know that because you literally came from Edina and your dad got you a job and your dad pays your insurance. Like, I'm finding all this stuff out on the date. Like, oh yeah, like my dad, he was like talking about his rent, where he stays, and like, oh, like he just pays his rent. You know, his dad pays his insurance. And guess what? His grandma, when she passed away, left him money to buy a car. So you don't have any responsibilities outside of paying your rent. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Like, I don't mind a privileged man if he understands his privilege, but when you think that, oh, everybody should be this certain type of way or can be this certain type of way, that's where I kind of disagree. So at that point I was like, he's kind of a little shallow. He judges people because the things he says, I'm like, that's not absolutely the truth. You know, that might be your outlook on it, but it's not the general outlook on it, if that makes sense. So we start talking, and I don't know how we got into some conversation. Oh, okay. Because, y'all, so I told him about my business. This is another thing. So when I tell men about my business, they already either they try to sexualize me because I have a sexual business. You guys, if you've been here, you know that I have a lingerie. I have a lingerie retail e-commerce business, but it's mostly pop-up shops that I do because I kind of moved away from the e-commerce setting. So I do a lot of pop-up shops. I do like events where I actually do like I host events for like sexual empowerment for women. So we talk about like sexual experiences, sexual health. We get into the deep weeds of that. I love talking about sexual anything, to be honest, because it's a taboo thing that people are scared to talk about. So I love having conversations around it. So in this sense, I had told him about the business because it came up, because he was like, oh, like, how did you get into the business? Oh, I had lingerie in the trunk. All right, I had lingerie in the back of my car because I did a pop-up shop. Yes, I had did a pop-up shop a few days before that or something. I had left the lingerie. And so, yeah, I left it in the car. And I was like, you know, it's very hard for me to, like, work with certain people because I work in the sex industry. And he was like, oh, why would you even label it the sex industry? Like, why would you even say that it's the sex industry? Like that it sounds very cringy. Like, it sounds like maybe like, in the in the sex working type of field, instead of like you actually sell lingerie and something that's a little bit more luxurious and stuff. I get where he's coming from, but I'm just like, bro, it's all sex at the end of the day. And I do sell to sex workers. Like, I have sex workers that buy stuff from me, and not even if they're not even having sex for money or nothing like that, but they might be like a stripper, or they might be a burlesque dancer, or they might be this or that. Like, I personally, I don't find it cringy. I don't care. Like, that's why I have this business, because I don't care. Like, y'all care. I make y'all uncomfortable, and this is exactly what I mean. Being in Minnesota, people are so conservative. So he gave me very conservative vibes. I'm like, okay, this is weird, right? So I had told him about the event that I had, and I kind of summed up what we kind of worked through in the event with someone's situation. And pretty much in this, we were talking about, it's not like a poly relationship, but when you sleep with somebody else outside of your relationship, but you have an agreement within your relationship, right? But it's not necessarily an open relationship. So we was talking about this and kind of how that works. He's like, no, like, I feel like this person just wants to be like, she don't even like men, like, she just like women and this and that, and if my girl did that to me, I'll be done with her, and I would be blah 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 blah. Like, he was really judgmental about this, and I'm like, well, you never know. Like, maybe that her partner might be okay with that. Like, some people are okay with that, you know? And so we had got into this whole conversation about this, and I'm like, okay. At this point, he's still cool, but I'm just like, he's kind of judgmental, you know? So at this point, we're talking still, and then he gets into the whole topic about how he just started having sex. How he lost his virginity at 27. Either 26 or 27. How he just lost his virginity. And that took me by a whirlwind, because I'm like, what? Like, I didn't know this before this date, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to judge him. Typically for me, though, like, I don't really want to be with a virgin. Like, that's not my cup of tea. But, like, if you're a really nice guy and I'm intentionally dating, I could give you a chance. Because I did like his personality, and we can have good conversations before I kind of figured out all this judgmental stuff and all this virgin stuff. So at this point, he tells me that he just lost his virginity. He waited a long time because he's very scared of diseases and all this, which I get to understand. I'm very paranoid about that too. So I told him, I was like, you know, why don't you just have people you plan on sleeping with get tested beforehand if you're very paranoid in that way, where you're like freaking out and have anxiety around it. You know what I mean? Why don't y'all both get tested before? And he was like, oh, I just think it's going to be weird. Like, it's going to weird him out or something. And I'm like, I don't think so, especially when it comes to a woman. You know, maybe the opposite way around. It might be like the guy might be a little bit more like, oh, he's not willing to do it. Some people won't, but some will. So just find out who's good for you. So anyways, I was like, okay. And so he got into, y'all, this is when it gets crazy. So he tells me he's a virgin. Then after that, he literally tells me that he really had a hard time even having sex. This is some stuff you really just don't tell people, especially on the first date. So he literally was like, he'll try to do it, and then like he either like as soon as he's about to do it, he might get soft and then like nervous. You know, I get it though, because guys can get nervous, and if they get nervous, it's not gonna be proper, if that makes sense. But I was like, I just wouldn't tell me this on the first date. But I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm very a therapeutic person, so I'm here to listen. But it's a lot. So after he had told me this, he told me about how in his last situationship, she was the first person that like really made him comfortable, like after he tried to have sex and it wasn't working and stuff. But the situationship he was in made him feel comfortable, was very patient with him. It was like the only person that he could just like sleep with without being like all in his head about it. And so he was just telling me about, first of all, he told me the girl's name. And I'm 100% sure that she's a black woman just by her name. So I was like, okay, so he just liked black women, which is interesting. He kind of wanted more. She said that she was going to try to work on being with him, but she lived out of state because she was a travel nurse. So she was like back and forth from here to other places and stuff like that. So she said she was willing to do the long distance, and they was talking and they was having sex. They were doing all these things together. And then she had left, and then she just ghosted him. Like, never talked to him again. So he tells me all this stuff, and I'm kind of like, okay, he must be in love with his ex still, because he is literally talking about his ex on a date with me, which is crazy. So I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, that's kind of messed up, and da-da-da. Like, ghosting is wrong. She's probably most likely had a partner already, or she didn't want to be in a relationship. Who knows? But he was like, he kept beating himself up about it because he didn't know why she would do this, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he has just so much passion about her. I said, oh yeah, this man, he really liked this girl. And he had told me that they hadn't been together for 11 months. And he told me that, like, you know, he was asking me, like, or he was telling me, like, he took some time to himself and stuff because I really messed him up a lot and da-da-da-da. And so he said he's behind on dating because of all of this, practically. So I'm like, okay, cool. So at this point, y'all, I don't know what is wrong with me, but I be understanding in certain ways because I get it a little bit because I was in love with my ex. I've been with other people when I was in love with my ex before. So it'd be like, first of all, I was just newly single when I went on a date with this man. I'm just going on dates left and right at this point. So whatever. So after this, I was like, I did like his personality. All the people that I had went on a date with, his personality I liked the most. But y'all, I already knew because when he told me he was a Leo, he literally told me he was a Leo before we went on our first date, and I was like, yeah, I told him that I wasn't going to judge him for it, but I was judging him hard because me and Leos cannot F with each other. As in friends, as in mans, and all of that. Okay, in the beginning, we can vibe, our personalities can vibe, but they always doing some weird shit. They always doing some sneaky weird shit, okay? So, literally, at this point, I'm like, okay, this was kind of an interesting date. So, I'm telling my friends about it and stuff. I'm like, okay, I had a fun time. Like, he was cool. Like, I actually really rock with him. Like, he can talk. Like, we could be friends. You know what I mean? But I didn't kiss him or nothing. Like, I didn't feel like that sexual tension. You know, when you really fuck with somebody, I didn't feel that. But I felt like he was very cool, to be honest. So after this date, we're texting still. We're texting every day and writing all these long paragraphs. And then out of nowhere, he texted me. He told me that he wants to just be honest with me and just let me know that he didn't realize when he went on the date with me that he was still in love with his ex, and that he's still in love with his ex, and he doesn't want to like string me along. He knows that I'm looking for something serious and more intentional, and he doesn't want to waste my time. And he, you know, I thought it was very nice. Like, I was like, okay, at least he came to me and told me this, and he was very open with me. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Like, thank you for letting me know. That's like literally how I responded, because when I responded, I was like, damn, these niggas is just all bad. Like, what the fuck? Like, you still in love with your ex? So at first I was kind of feeling the way about it, but when I sat back and thought about it, I did this before to one of my friend's cousins before. I went back to my ex when me and him was trying to date, and I had to text him like, I'm sorry, but me and my ex are getting back together. Like, it was kind of premature of me to, like, you know, entertain you, but yeah, I'm still in love with this nigga. You know what I mean? So I've done that before, and I do believe in karmatic energy. I really do, and I believe what you put in the earth, sometimes you're gonna get that shit back. So I think that's kind of how I got that back, which I'm not tripping on it or nothing, but that was my first date with a white man, and I found out he was a virgin. I found out he was still in love with his ex. And I found out he was very privileged and didn't really have to work for shit. So honestly, I'm not interested. I think black love, black power. Honestly, I think with white men, I can really be friends with them. I really am good at being friends with them because they actually have more of an open personality. Like, they will talk to people they don't know that well. Whereas black men, a lot of times, if they don't know you like that, they not rocking with you like that. You know, they not gonna go out their way to talk to you, like, unless they like you or attract you. But I mean, like, even in the friendly, like, every day you walking, if you walk outside, you might walk past a white man, he'd be like, oh, hi, how's your day, or something, or like, oh, look at your dog, or something. You walk past a black man, he go about his business. Even, especially if you got a girlfriend. What I know is about white men, they can have a whole girlfriend, whole wife, and they will have these whole long dialects with you. Black men, hell no. So that's what we'll say. I can see myself being friends with a white man, but I just really can't see myself marrying a white man. Like, and this right here, I will say what I did with the pro about going on a date with a white man is he let me order whatever I wanted. He told me, get whatever you want. I love that, okay? No, after that is he actually chose the place. I don't know if it's just him or just white people. I don't know. It's my first date with one. So he actually chose the place, chose the time, and literally, you know, was on time and all of that. Like, I said, okay, period. So I have nothing against this man at all. I think he's a nice guy. I think it was just good that he was upfront honest with me. I have no hard feelings for the man. Do I think he gonna come back? I do think he gonna come back. I think they all come back, honestly. I'm surprised he ain't come back yet, but he fighting demons. Like, honestly, he gotta let shorty go, because 11 months, you gotta get past it. But he lost his virginity to her. That's huge to some people. For me, when I lost my virginity, it didn't mean a damn thing. But for him, it meant something, because he waited a long time. So yeah, y'all, that's my little story time about my first and last time going on a date with a white man. Light up the comments. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Your girl was battling stomach problems and still made this video. So okay, if y'all made it to the end, comment the best place someone's took you on a date. I want to see, because I gotta level up my standards. All right, but I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.